The first time I saw him, I knew trouble was about to walk onto my track. He wasn't just any coach, was the head coach, the kind of man whose presence could make a room pause and everyone in it hold their breath. And there I was, 17 and hopelessly awkward, trying not to stumble over my own sneakers. "Watch your form, kid," he said, voice low, not scolding, just commanding. My heart skipped like it had forgotten the rhythm entirely. He leaned over, adjusting my posture, his fingers brushing against mine for a second too long. That second was a lifetime. I told myself it meant nothing. It had to mean nothing. Coaches weren't supposed to make hearts pound like that. They weren't supposed to linger in your dreams with smiles that could ignite panic and longing in equal measure. Yet every practice, every glance, every accidental touch felt like gravity pulling me closer to a cliff I had no intention of jumping from yet desperately wanted to. He watched me train with an intensity that bordered on obsessive. The kind of stare that saw more than muscles, more than performance seat saw me. My mistakes, my strengths, my hesitations, my dreams. And sometimes, I caught him watching me when he thought I didn't notice, a faint smirk tugging at the corners of his mouth, as if he knew exactly what he was doing. The locker room was the worst, not for showers or uniforms, but for moments when the world blurred. He'd lean against the doorframe, casual yet deliberate, and the air between us would thicken. My stomach would twist, my throat dry, my brain screaming warnings I refused to heed. "You've got potential," he said one afternoon, voice softer, almost intimate, as he adjusted my arm during a stretch. "But you're holding back." I nodded mutely, trying not to imagine what he meant by holding back. But my thoughts had a way of betraying me. They always did. After practice, he lingered. Most coaches left their athletes to the showers or the parking lot, but not him. He'd find some excusio technique correction, a casual question about my diet or recovery routine. The mundane became charged when he was around. Even the air seemed heavier, scented faintly of sweat and cologne, thrilling and terrifying all at once. One evening, I stayed late, pretending to be engrossed in stretching drills, but really, I was hoping, praying for a moment alone with him. The gym was empty, the echoes of bouncing balls and clanging weights reduced to a soft hum. And then he was there, closer than usual, leaning over to pick up a dumbbell I had let roll. "You shouldn't be here so late," he murmured, and for a second, the world shrank to just us. I wanted to. My voice faltered. I could barely admit it to myself, let alone to him. His gaze softened, and he crouched slightly to meet my eyes. "You want to improve," he said, but the words lingered, heavy with something unspoken, something dangerous. And then my knees betrayed me. I dropped to the floor, tripping over my own inability to stand still under his scrutiny. He caught me, of course, his hand steadying me in a grip that should have been professional, but wasn't. It was closer, too close. "Careful," he said. But there was warmth there, something that made my chest pound, something that told me this was more than training. The weeks blurred. Practices, drills, late afternoons that turned into stolen conversations in empty hallways. A brush of hands here, a lingering look there. The line was never crossed, yet the tension made every encounter electric. I knew I was playing with fire, yet I couldn't stop reaching closer, hoping he might not pull away. One rainy night, he found me in the gym again, sitting on the bench and wiping sweat from my face. "You're persistent," he said, voice low, almost amused. His hair was damp from the rain, strands clinging to his forehead, and I swear my brain short-circuited. I want to get better," I admitted, though it sounded feeble against the storm of emotion inside me. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he crouched in front of me, eyes locked on mine. "You are," he said softly, almost tenderly, and then, just as suddenly, he straightened. "But there are lines you shouldn't cross." I nodded, biting my lip, trying not to let the disappointment show. But I felt it anyway, a hollow tug at my chest, a yearning for something I knew I shouldn't want. That night, sleep was impossible. Every memory of him, every accidental touch, every fleeting smile, replayed in my mind like a film I couldn't turn off. And somewhere deep inside, I realized the truth: I was in love with him. The head coach. The man I should never have desired. And yet, the thought didn't terrify me as much as it should have. Weeks turned into months, and the tension between us became a quiet rhythm I couldn't ignore. Every glance, every brush of hands, was a question neither of us dared to answer openly. Yet in those stolen moments, in the spaces where no one else existed, our connection deepened. It was fragile, forbidden, and intoxicating. One afternoon, the gym was empty except for the two of us. Rain drummed softly against the windows, a private symphony for what I was about to do. I approached him cautiously, heart thudding, palms sweaty. "Coach," I whispered, voice barely audible. He looked up from his clipboard, raising an eyebrow, that same faint smirk tugging at his lips. "Yes, I can't stop thinking about you," I admitted, the words tumbling out before fear could stop them. For a moment he was silent. Then he set the clipboard aside, standing and stepping closer. The air between us felt charged, the storm outside mirroring the one inside me. His eyes softened, the usual commanding presence replaced by something tender, something that made my knees weak. "You know this is dangerous," he said quietly, his hand brushing against mine. "You're not wrong, but I feel it too." Time seemed to freeze. The gym, the rain, the world outside it all faded until there was nothing but him and me. I reached up instinctively, cupping his face in my hands, feeling the warmth of his skin, the faint stubble against my palms. He leaned in, just slightly, testing, questioning, and I closed the distance without hesitation. Our lips met in a fleeting, gentle kiss at first, hesitant, unsure. Then, as if the universe had been holding its breath all along, the kiss deepened, filled with all the longing, fear, and hope that had built between us. It wasn't reckless. It wasn't wrong, it was right, in the only way that mattered. Afterward, we pulled back slightly, foreheads resting together, breaths mingling. The storm outside continued, but inside, there was a calm, a clarity. "I didn't think this could happen," I murmured, voice shaky but full of awe. "Neither did I," he admitted, a small smile forming. "But maybe some rules are meant to be bent, not broken." From that moment, everything shifted. Practices were still intense, drills still grueling, but beneath the surface, a quiet understanding had formed. We stole moments in empty hallways, exchanged glances in the locker room that held no shame, only promise. Every brush of hands, every shared smile, became a thread weaving us closer together. And it wasn't just passion, it was care. He pushed me to be my best, yes, but he also nurtured me, listened to my fears, encouraged my dreams. I began to realize that what I had been craving wasn't just the thrill of forbidden desire, it was partnership, trust, love. One evening, after a particularly grueling practice, we stayed behind to cool down. He draped a towel over my shoulders, fingers brushing against my neck, lingering longer than necessary. I looked up at him, and something unspoken passed between us. "You've grown," he said softly, pride in his voice, but also something deeper, something intimate. "Not just in strength, but in heart." "I couldn't have done it without you," I admitted, and this time, there was no hesitation, no fear of crossing lines, just honesty. He smiled, the kind of smile that could melt the weight of 1,000 anxieties. "And I couldn't have done it without you either," he whispered, leaning down to press a gentle kiss to my forehead. From that night on, we didn't hide. Not openly, at least. Our connection was our own secret, one that didn't need validation from the world, but which gave us courage, joy, and a sense of belonging. Every shared laugh, every touch, every quiet moment after practice became a testament to a love neither of us had dared hope for. The season ended, trophies were awarded, and life outside the gym beckoned. Yet, no matter where the world pulled us, we found our way back to each other. Sitting side by side on the bleachers, watching the sun set over the track, I realized that desire had grown into something far more enduring: love, gentle, abiding, and fierce all at once. He reached out, fingers entwining with mine. I squeezed back, a silent promise that whatever the future held, we would face it together. The charm, the allure, the forbidden thrill that had drawn me to him in the first place had transformed into warmth, trust, and unwavering devotion. I shouldn't have desired this, I whispered, echoing the thought that had haunted me for months. But you did, he replied, voice low, full of certainty. And that desire led us here, to this. And in that quiet moment, with rain still falling and the world beyond the windows fading into twilight, I knew some loves are worth the risk. Some hearts, no matter how young, how hesitant, can recognize what is true. And in his arms, I found not just passion, not just longing, but home. For the first time, I didn't feel forbidden. I felt right. I felt loved. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.